In this video, we're solving quadratic equations, and some key information before we start some examples listed right here. So first of all, we want to make sure that our equations are in standard form when we're solving, which means if we don't have it in standard form equals 0, we need first to transfer everything to the left equals 0. So that's our first task. As soon as we have it in standard form, then we check to make sure we don't have a GCF. If we do have a GCF, we need to pull that out first before we think about factoring. So after GCF is pulled out, if we have it, we're thinking about factoring. And after we have it factored equals 0, we take each of the factors and we set it equal to 0 by using the zero product property. And that's how we're getting to the answers from the factors. So let me take you through some examples. This is my purple example. I always like to put my parentheses, to set my parentheses first, equals 0. This is telling me they're opposite signs. I need two numbers with a product of -18 and a sum of 3. This is telling me the biggest would be the positive, so 6 and -3. You can do FOIL to make sure you're correct. So at this point, I have my trinomial factored. I have two factors equal 0. So this is where I will be using the zero product property. This is 0 or this is 0. And you're solving to get n by itself. So you have to subtract 6 from both sides. And there's your first solution or one of the solutions. And here you're adding 3. So n is -6 or n is 3. So pay attention and make sure you understand that the factors are the opposite of the solutions. If you put -6 in here, you're going to get a 0 for this parentheses. If you put a 3 in here, you're going to get a 0 for this parentheses. But you can also take them back to the original and make sure when you put them in, it works. If I go to the red problem, I'm setting up my parentheses because I don't have it. It is in standard form. I don't have a GCF. And I'm getting ready to factor. Both of them the same, both negatives. So P minus P minus. I need product of 40. 4 times 10, 2 times 20, 5 times 8. And the sum of -13, so I need to go with 5 and 8. Which one is first? It doesn't matter. They're both negatives. There's a factorization, and you can do FOIL to make sure you agree. I have two factors equal 0. Zero product property tells me either the first is 0 or the second is 0. Solve each of them to get P by itself. P equals 5 or P equals 8. Again, the answer is the opposite of the factor. For these two examples, I see that I have a GCF. So first, I need to pull out the GCF. So let me go to the green problem. I see between the terms I'm sharing an X. So I will put an X out from each. And I'm left with this if I pull out an X from each. So at this point, I have my binomial factored out. And I have two factors equal 0. So it's either this that is 0 or this that is 0. Well, this is solved. You have X by itself, but you need to solve this. You're going to be subtracting 1 from each side. Those are my two answers. Remember, for all of these so far, because the biggest exponent is 2, that is telling me that I should be getting 2 answers. For this blue problem, I see that I'm sharing a 2 amongst all my terms, so I'll pull out the 2, and here's my leftover. It's like dividing each of them by 2 to get the leftover. So there's my GCF. I carry my GCF with me, and now I'm getting ready to factor this trinomial. This is telling me one of each. And it doesn't matter which one you put first or the signs, but be careful you put the correct numbers. 24, 2, 12, 3, 8. Some of them, and the 3 and the 8 will work, and I want the biggest to be the negative. So here is your 8, here's your 3. All right, now be careful here. You have 3 factors equal 0, but 2 can never be equal to 0. So you don't have to worry about the 2. You're going to set these factors equal to 0. This is 0 or this is 0. And you're going to get the 2 solutions from these 2. If I subtract 3, here's one answer. If I add 8, here's the other answer. Again, I know I should be getting 2 solutions because of the square. For these two, I don't have them in standard form. So let me go and put this in standard form. I'm going to bring the k over, which means subtract it. And I will put it in standard form also, equals 0. So everything on the left equals 0. I do have it in standard form, and I'm getting ready to factor. Setting up my parentheses equals 0. This is telling me one of each. 12, 6, 2, 4, 3, or 1, 12. Well, if I want a negative 1, I need to go with 4 and 3, and the biggest would be your negative. Here we go. 2 factors equals 0. Zero product property tells you it's either this side is 0 or this side is 0. I'm getting from here at k equals 4, and from here k equals negative 3. These are the two solutions. This is not in standard form, so let me bring it over. Let me bring over the 25, which becomes negative 25, because you would have to subtract 25. And at this point, I see that this is difference of squares. This is a square, this is a square, and this is difference. So I'm going to factor the difference of squares the way we have learned in class. I need 2 parentheses, equals 0. Interchange signs when you have difference of squares. Square root of this goes here, and square root of this goes here. So there's a factorization. And at this point, I have 2 factors equals 0. It's either this that is 0 or this that is 0. If I solve them, I'm getting negative 5 and 5. And sometimes we prefer to write it like this, plus or minus 5. 2 answers. And there you have it.